Well, hey, it's Tina.
And Dr. Michael Gross. Hello, everyone.
We are thrilled to be here today
Yes, we are.
to bring in Sunday. It's 2 o'clock. It's also daylight, what's it now? Pacific Daylight Time, right?
No, yes, Pacific Daylight Time. Yep.
Yeah.
We're an hour back. Spring forward, leap, fall back.
Fall back. Yeah, so we fell back. And we're here to talk to you today about a really interesting subject. I'm just going to call it that because we titled Michael said clutter, and the first thing I thought about when he said clutter was, oh, he's been looking in my closet. And actually, no, but all kidding aside, I think clutter is a beautiful topic that we can address right now. And on that note, shall we?
Let's do the intro.
Let's do the intro.
All right. I want to talk to you about a great book, a wonderful book, Healing the Holes in Your Soul by T.U. Knapp. It's about a heroic story of a woman who, like the phoenix, rose from the ashes. He's got a powerful message to deliver in this book. It will change your life. I cannot recommend it more than enough. It's very empowering. And I will tell you, once you read it, you'll feel the emotions, you will feel the love, and understand how she recreated herself. So I recommend Healing the Holes in Your Soul by T.U. Knapp.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that book would not have come into existence had it not been for this book.
I know the guy that wrote that book.
Yeah. I know him too. And trust me, you know what? He's a very incredible man. He has taught me so many things that started right here from this book. I met him 2 years ago.
Wow.
And we've been working together almost that entire time. It took me a little bit before I got through the book and I went, oh, it was a must read and I had to meet him again and work with him. And now we've become really good friends. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to the author of the Spiritual Primer, because the golden nuggets that he's got in here are the reason I'm sitting here honored to be talking to him, with him, sharing my book, because he's the one who encouraged me to write it. And I'm like, I never thought I'd actually get that thing written, even though I had it in the back of my mind for a long time. It was one of those things you put on the back burner. Yeah, I'll get to it someday. And I did it. So on that note, we'll go into the formal, right?
All right, here it is.
Okay. Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, a transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he's been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, spiritual counselor, and a teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self-empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their intuitive abilities. He currently teaches classes in spirituality, self-empowerment, and Reiki, and other modalities. I've seen so many of his certificates and degrees and stuff. Man, this guy knows a lot.
I'm embarrassed.
He has so much experience in so many things that we don't even, they should have taught us some of this stuff in school.
I agree.
Right. Okay. In concert with God, the true source, he has also achieved great success and miraculous healings. He remains humble, knowing that his work, all the work he does, comes from God, the true source. He lives in Lakewood, Washington, and I am thrilled to be part of his newly launched nonprofit titled
The International Institute of Self-Empowerment.
Yes.
It's exciting. We're slowly getting it rolling, but we're moving along very well.
So on that note, it's my turn to give Michael the mic.
Give Michael the mic. Michael, Mike. I got it.
Oh, no, I can't believe I did that.
It's wonderful. Hello, this is Mike. Anyway, everyone, how are you? Thanks for joining us. And I thought I'd talk to you today about clutter. course, we know we all have clutter in our bedrooms or our closets or our garage. I got it in my garage. And sometimes in my office, there's a lot of clutter. But what about clutter of the mind? And that's something we don't think about. Where does the clutter of the mind come from? Well, if we think about it, we're always comparing the past with the present. And every time something comes up that challenges us, we got all this information in a hard disk called your subconscious mind, which is more than a million terabytes. I don't know what it really is, but that's a great exaggeration. But all that information is there. And we don't use very much of our brain, just a small percentage of our brain. All that information that's sitting there right now in our brain. Everything that happens in our life, there's something that comes up that we're thinking about the past. And it could be as simple as I've talked before, let's go out to your favorite restaurant. Or and you went there before, yeah, let's do it, because it's really, really gooder. Not worser, but gooder. But let's talk about other clutter. Everything you have in your life, you have experienced up to the number of years of your life. So obviously, if you're a newborn, yeah, you don't have too much. Except you have a lot of memory of being in the womb. And whether we realize it or not, being in the womb, every experience that the mother has is actually imprinted into the cellular structure of the brain of the fetus, as well as conversations. Pretty heavy, isn't it?
What did we hear?
Boy, you heard arguments, swearing, cursing, yelling, and probably the mother, this the old story when she's giving birth, she hates her husband. Look what you made me do. You saw things like that. And then after the baby's born, the mother forgets about it and sees the beauty of the child. And the father also sees the beauty of the child. But let's go back to the clutter in our life. So every experience is stored in the subconscious mind. Remember, as I talked before, 94% of our thinking comes from our subconscious mind. 6% comes from the conscious mind. So there you go. So there's all this information stored in the hard disk called the subconscious mind. And all those things you learned were on purpose. When I say on purpose, it helped you grow, help you discern what direction you're going to take in life. Supposing you wanted to go out and be a car mechanic and you ended up being a mechanical engineer. Well, you learned something about being a car mechanic, which was great information because as a mechanical engineer, and if you design cars or anything mechanical, you have to understand the basics. So this is wonderful. Well, let's say you had a tough time with trigonometry in school. I did. And so trigonometry, in college could be very threatening. And anything that represents trigonometry, you have a block. So these are the things on the clutter. I want to talk to you more about everyday clutter. Not only the clutter that you had in school or college, but the clutter of life. And if we break it down, the clutter of life, you have relationships. And they're relationships with your family, friends, and relatives. Some of them were tumultuous, some of them were really great. Some of them you want to forget about. And then you had relationships. You remember your first love of your life. Oh my gosh, you were a young child and then they broke up with you. Oh, your life was ending. You can't live anymore. How dramatic we were all about. I know I experienced it. And I'm sure, did you ever experience it?
I fell in love with my uncle when I was a little girl.
Oh, right.
And then my aunt and uncle got divorced. I was devastated. It's like, and the whole thing is that he was my uncle. He was like,
he was your hero.
He was my hero. I was young and he drove a sports car. And my aunt was a model at one point. And when he no longer showed up in our life, I didn't know what to do with that.
Wow. That was really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Really hard. And, lately means over the last year, I've been doing intrauteral work. Intrauteral, I should say, is where, the fetus is in the womb. And tracing back a lot of things. So dealing with the fetus, now that's an adult, anywhere from age 10, maybe younger, up to 90, 100, whatever it is, they're suddenly having memories. Or some of the blocks that we have had in our life started intrauteral. And there's a way to discover it, but I'm talking about clutter. So all these things in our life, I want you to view as just an experience to empower you. That's really, really important. And if you learn from that, I've posted on Facebook, what if you thought as failure as success? What if you thought that failure is success? In other words, you learned what worked and didn't work. Wouldn't your attitude change? So if you look at it that way, failure means success. How many times have you done things that didn't work out right, but you figured out a solution to it? And the solution was much better than what you were working on. Of course, we men, we get something, we don't look at directions until we get frustrated. Well, I think I better look at the directions. Or your wife or some girlfriend or somebody says that, yeah, I think I ought to. Kind of an ego thing. I don't need directions.
I'm like that. I don't ever read directions until I can't figure out what to do with the spare parts.
Well, that works. Well, hey, there's 10 parts out of my engine, but it seems to run. So that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's how we learn. So we learn from what works and doesn't work. Don't call it failure. Call it success because you learned something new. And in your life, you learned about different relationships. And in your life, you've worked in many different jobs. And perhaps, I love to cook most of the time. Notice the words most of the time. Well, I really hate cleaning up. So to conquer that, and I look at all these dishes, oh my God. The company goes, see you later, Michael. 8, 10 people, and I got dishes full. I learned to clean as I cook. So after going through that experience of being overwhelmed, when I'm cooking and people are eating and I'm serving, but to clean the dishes, put in the dishwasher, clean the pots. So when I'm done, all I've got is the dessert plate. But it's just a thought. This is how we get rid of the clutter in our mind because it can be overcoming in your thoughts. Look at this mess. I don't want to entertain. I don't want people here. It's too hard. And yet there's always a solution to the clutter. So look at the clutter of everything you've experienced in your life. It's going to come up one after another sometime in your lifetime. Sometimes 20 or 30 or 40 times. What if you had a disastrous relationship? And how many men and women that I meet now, whenever you have a relationship, I never want to get married, never, 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 never. It's been disaster. And I go, okay. And perhaps they've had 2 or 3 or 4 relationships, a couple marriages, and they all failed. And they want nothing to do with a relationship.
I did that.
Did you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, 2 of them, and then the third guy that decided he wanted one. I'm like, and it was years. It was years. I thought I would rather be by myself.
So here the goes. Here we need to look at what is the pattern that's in your clutter and your thoughts that you're attracting the same kind of person over and over and over again. Or maybe it's a job, or maybe it's friends, or whatever. And you get burnt by your friends. Or maybe you have friends that take advantage of you, or whatever. You need to look at all the clutter in your mind. Clutter is another way of saying all your experiences you've had, both positive, negative, and let's say neutral. Neutral is probably you did something, it was okay, but you forgot about it. And out of the clear blue sky, here you are having a hot fudge sundae with a lot of whipped cream and just enjoying yourself. Maybe we'll add something else, like a Coke or something like that, sugar upon sugar. And all of a sudden you have a flashback of a clutter, of something that you were having a hot fudge sundae with somebody else. Maybe it was your favorite boyfriend or girlfriend, and you were having an argument, or you were getting dumped on, or you were sitting all alone by yourself. That's what I call clutter, to make it a little more clearer to you. And everything you've ever experienced, remember, is stored in your subconscious. So whatever age you are, right? A lot of stuff there. It's amazing what we have in our subconscious. But it's also amazing of all the experiences you've had in your life. And that's what you're learning, what works and doesn't work. How do you know hot from cold? Hey, you got to feel hot to know cold, right? But some of us are slow learners, like wet paint. I put my finger, oh yeah, it's wet paint. Every time I see it, I got to put my finger. Yeah, I do it over again. Slow learner, but I'm getting wiser and wiser to it. But there are certain things that are just okay. Certain things that are wonderful, and certain things are like, been there, done that, I'm done. And that's what I'd like all of you to focus on. Look at your life. Look at all the thoughts you come up with, thousands and tens of thousands of them, and discern what were you supposed to learn from them. And once you discern that, then it no longer needs to be in your life. But here's a little tip. Once you declare I've learned from it, kind of like a friend of mine says, reverse engineering. And what you do is what happens is when it comes up and it was painful, uncomfortable, or you didn't like it, ask what you're supposed to learn from this clutter. And once you own it, that's the key word. Once you experience and own it and ask yourself what you learn, then you won't have it in your life anymore. But this is what your soul does. Oh, Michael, you think I got it right? Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to give you a test here, and it's going to be recreated in your life again. Yep, there it is. I learned that one. No way. Stay away from that one. And once you learn it, it's over and done with. Well, what will happen is later, you'll observe someone going through something similar that you've healed and released. It's just a reinforcement that, yep, been there, done that one. But unfortunately, we let our egos, remember ego, I talked about that as you got out, try to control and manipulate us. But the worst type of person I've ever come across is the analytical, logical one. Oh my God, I call it analogical, right? And they got to analyze every little thing, everything to the nth degree. And when I ask the true source, why do they do this? They want proof, and they want proof, and they want more proof, and they're never really satisfied. And that's because the ego is cutting in there. Well, did you really do it right, Michael? Did you really, really right? I had one person that said he was a seeker. He wanted information. How long you been seeking? 30 years. Oh, don't you think you got enough information now? Isn't time applied? No, I have to learn more. And I asked the true source why. He's always looking for proof, 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 proof. He will never be satisfied. No matter what you do, he won't be satisfied. And that's part of his ego. But he prides himself in being a seeker. Well, that's great. But what is he doing with it? What does he gain from it? Knowledge is great, but knowledge is wonderful if you apply it. But if you don't apply it, you just get stacked up with clutter, higher and higher and higher and higher. Like going to a library, you got tens of thousands of books just sitting there, and people aren't using or appreciating it. Now it's time for you to look at yourself. Time to begin to understand what is the clutter, what is holding me back, and what direction do I go into, and what direction do I need to go into. And that's really important because all of us on this planet who are watching this and in the future have reached a point in your lives where now it's time to declutter. You know, they used to do it on the computer, to declutter, but also reorganize your thoughts and see what is important to you and what is not important. You know, in the old days of the computer, said garbage in, garbage out, right? And that's what you got to do with your mind. Garbage in, garbage out. If it no longer serves you, why do you have it there? That's like having a catalog, Sears catalog, that was 1960 clothing, and still having it for referral. Well, I got to tell you, what good is it? Well, I'll tell you a story about the Sears catalog. So they used to be very sick. You know, you could buy houses from Sears, weapons, clothing, you know, all kinds of things.
It was cool.
And I had a client, she was 80 years old. She said, we couldn't wait to get the Sears, you know, wonderful catalog. And she said, you know, I lived in Idaho, and we had a two-holer, which meant she had an outhouse, right? That's what you call it. Now we're separated two different doors, but they were attached. And she says, oh, couldn't wait to get it because that was our toilet paper. It sounds humorous, but that's what they use with the Sears catalog.
Yeah, well, that would make sense. After they look at everything and they decide what pages they want to keep, they tear the rest of it up and you know, apply it wherever.
And today we call that recycling. But I didn't want to ask her if she had any imprint from the Sears catalog where it was. Just a little humor there, but we can let our imagination run. But I wanted to bring that out, a little humor.
My grandfather had an outhouse like that.
Did he?
Yeah, he had newspaper. He didn't have the Sears catalog. He had newspaper. I'm like, oh, you know, that blacking.
Yeah, and that black ink, it wasn't waterproof like it is today. So little humor, little things to think about. But actuality, just look about what's going on in your life. And I use the Sears catalog. J.C. Penney had one, Montgomery Ward, all the others. And these companies are barely around. Some of them are still around. But what we need to understand is what's our direction in life? What's our purpose in life? More importantly, is this clutter used as a tool to empower ourselves, to teach us about what we've learned, unlearned, so to speak? Or are we using it to block us? You know, my favorite expression is you don't know where you're going, you can't get lost. And that you are unlimited. And think about what I've just shared with you. You don't know where you're going, you can't get lost. The clutter creates a fear in your life. I better not do this. I better not do that. Oh, I better not take a new job. I better not try to open up a new company. I better not. And that's part of what it's doing.
Isn't that like an anchor?
Good. Go ahead, share that louder with everybody.
Well, I was just thinking if you're holding on to the clutter, it's like an anchor holding you down. And when you let that go, if it doesn't serve you any purpose anymore, like something that you ordered out of the Sears catalog, right? If
Right?
you're looking at it and it's still hanging around the house and you haven't used it in 5 years, then it's nothing but clutter. It's nothing like an anchor, and it's taking up it's wasting space where you could be using it, using that space in your mind for something a lot more positive.
Thank you for sharing that. There's another perspective, which is really fun, and it opens up our minds to look at things differently. But the true source said to me, and I posted it a while back, are you a servant of your fears or the master of your life? Think about that. Are you a servant of your fears or the master of your life? It's really important for us to look at our lives. And remember, I said everything in your life is a lesson for you to learn. It's empowering. And there's no such thing as failure, there's only success. So while I'm talking about this, how's our time going?
We got about 5 minutes.
Cool.
Can I throw something in there?
Absolutely.
Well, you just brought up, are you a servant of your fears or the master of your life? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you're back in the womb,
Mm-hmm.
then you're already hearing things that could be something that's generating a fear in your mind, and you don't even know it. Okay. I mean, because you're a baby, right? And yet, when you get older, that fear has already been deeply rooted into your mind. And so you really have to look back at, that's part of the limiting beliefs that we've learned about. And, what we were taught when my parents are gone, but my parents were very, very loving and caring, but they came with a certain type of belief system that fit in their world back in the day of the Sears catalogs, you could say, but it doesn't fit in our world today. So if you recognize the limitations that you have in your own mind,
Mm-hmm.
right, then you're going to be able to really look at it and find out what gives you value, what memories, what tools are applicable for you in your life today, and what are the ones that are the anchors that you should just leave right there and walk away from them, right?
Absolutely. You know, I've run across people, or women, or men, or children, whomever, and the wife was pregnant, and in the day, they didn't have a way of telling what the sex was. Except, if you carry high, it's a male, or whatever it is, carry low, it's a female, or kicks a lot, or whatever. Or if the woman had heartburn, supposed to mean the baby had a lot of hair and all that stuff. I really don't know if that's true, but these are the old wives' tales, and some of them are pretty darn accurate. But one of the things you need to understand is that, let's take a hypothetical case. And so let's say this family has three daughters and they want a boy. Boy, she's pregnant again, really want a boy. Absolutely want a boy. And turns out to be a girl. But the mother and father are talking, and the children, oh, this is going to be a boy. We know it's going to be a boy. And then the child is born as a young girl or female. and they're a little bit disappointed. You bet your bippy, as they used to say, that fetus, that soul, before it was born, felt that energy and knew it was a female and birthed out as a female. And now there's going to be a little feeling of rejection, low self-worth, low self-esteem, low self-love, and also feel insecure, feel rejected, and have a fear of abandonment or any combinations of those. So it's so important for us, especially all the women watching this, if you're a childbearing age, watch your thoughts. And if, let's say, you're a mother now and you're not a childbearing age, or you choose not to have any children, think about what you've created and share that with your children so that they don't recreate it. And show them that you love them. Not by buying them things and computers and vacations and clothing. That's temporary. Yeah, they're happy. And then when they get older or whatever, or 6 months later, they need more new clothes or whatever. But love them. Love them from the depth of your soul, from your heart. Show them that you really care. Show them that they're really important. That's what we need to show, not only to our children, but to Mother Earth, which is a living, breathing entity, and to your family and friends and relatives and all those around them, even people you meet. Just express kindness, which is a loving thought. Express positivity. And with all the chaos that's going on in the planet, stop buying into the fear, to the doubt, and allowing yourself to be bullied. Follow your thoughts of the soul and do it. And do not let let's say, the anger, the frustration, and the judgment of others taint your thoughts. You know innately what direction to take and what to do. You know it very clearly, and you know it's not of the ego. Follow the thoughts of your soul and your heart. And as I always say, you can walk into a pile of manure and come out smelling like a dozen roses because you've made the right decision. Now, there's wisdom in that because if you think about a pile of manure, you think about fear, doubt, dank in energy, you're not good enough, you're a piece of you know what, beginning with a C. But when you come out smelling like a dozen roses, you're the belle of the ball. You're the most handsome woman or man around. You have clarity, you're beautiful, and your light is beginning to expand. Think about those things. Think about your direction in life. Think about following your heart and your soul. And think about eliminating the clutter in your life. And I want to remind everybody that on Tuesday evening at 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., I have what I call the call-in, where you call in and ask questions, and I deliver a message. And to you, help me with that.
I sure will. I'd be
Thank
happy
you.
to. I just want to toss in one thing, though.
Sure.
When you're talking about clutter and listening to the thoughts of your soul, as parents, make sure you also listen to your children. Take a minute when we're going through our daily life, listen to what they're saying too, because they also have thoughts in their soul.
Thank you. Good suggestion. Thank you.
And now, the Tuesday calling. The number is 202-926-1059. And the access code is
125-446-pound.
I love the way you just said it. One more time. The number is 202-926-1059.
125-446-pound.
And I'll make sure it's all in the comments below. And
we have what I have 200 recordings.
congratulations.
Thank you. And they're about 10 minutes long, a little bit longer. But when you're bored, stuck in traffic, or maybe your father-in-law, mother-in-law is talking, and you got to listen to something and pretend you're on the phone, this is great because it'll make you feel more positive. And the number for that is?
The number for that is 434-300-59. 4170. And the access code is the same, which is
125-446-pound.
He's so animated. Okay, one more time. 434-300-4170.
And the code is 125-446-pound. Having fun today. And I want to remind all of you that the second Saturday of every month from 9:55 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 11:01 Pacific Standard Time, we have what I call mass consciousness healing, in which we get together and we ask to work with the true source to send healing to every human being on this planet, Mother Earth, yes, get it out, Michael, animal, mineral, and vegetable kingdom, and everyone else. This is so important. It's going to be the most wonderful experience you've ever had. And not only that, you're going to change little souls by one. It's going to increase and snowball. And the telephone number for that is?
That one is 202-926-1059.
And the access code is 125-446-pound.
One more time. 202-926-1059.
And 125-446-pound. I sound like, what was that? And the answer is? I forgot the name of that TV show.
That wasn't Let's Make a Deal, was it?
Was it Let's Make a Deal? I don't remember, but anyway.
But
and we're just having some fun. So everyone, before we sign off to you, would you like to add anything?
I do. I'd like to thank everybody for spending some of your Sunday afternoon with us. This will be live on our Facebook pages, and it doesn't come down. So if you miss the live, come back, hit hashtag record. It's still going to be there. So if you don't get to it on a Sunday sometime, if your friends are saying, "Oh man, I'm bummed out, I didn't get to see it," just let them know that we're here and we're not taking any of these recordings down. So they can pop in 24/7 because that's what Facebook is. It's you can get there anytime. Just come find us. This is on my page and Michael's page too. So definitely, if you have any questions, we'd be happy to share our words of wisdom with you. And one more time, let's go ahead and show the books, okay?
All righty.
This is Michael's The Spiritual Primer. I highly recommend it because it gives you fuel for your soul.
Wonderful. I like that. And Tia's book, Healing the Holes of Your Soul. And all of us, whether it was traumatic as much as Tia went through, or perhaps when you were growing up, this is an important book to read. Because at one time or another, we've had some holes in our life, in our soul. Everyone, you have a great week. We wish you well. Please tell everybody more about our little podcast. Share this information and feel free to go back. Maybe there's something you want to listen to. Well, I heard this before. Oh, I learned something new. It's like reading a book. You read it. Every time you read it, there's something new or something will resonate with you. And we want to resonate with you, the thought, you are unlimited. Namaste, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Have a great week.